Hello everyone and welcome back to PAX and Recreation. And today we are back at Bundlemania and going back to the past. And chronologically, that means that it is time for Kaldheim. Ba-bam, bam, ba-bam. So, yes, that was like the Terminator theme, but not so much. And I didn't have any Kaldheim related playmats, so I just went with this Rebecca Y one because, I don't know, it looked kind of Nordic to me. But also Rebecca Y is Y and great, so I was like, well, why not? Just let's do that. So, Kaldheim. If you're new to this channel, basically we're going to open this kind of a little blast to the past. This is part of Bundlemania. This is a series that we do that is opening all bundles in Magic the Gathering going backwards as much as Wizards allows us because they keep releasing sets, so we need to keep going back to the present and then go back to the past. And we also kind of talk about the set a little bit and some memories and some stuff and some shenanigans. So, Kaldheim. This is from the weird adolescent era of bundles. So they are not fat packs anymore. They are bundles, right? So we are still. They are being called bundles already. They come with draft boosters, no longer boosters, and we are yet to get to that era. But it's not like now that it's play boosters, and it's not like later that it's set boosters. So it's in this weird era where it's like no, they value more the amount of boosters. So let's put 10 draft boosters. And we're still in the chunky era of the bundle, where the bundle had this how do you call it? This sleeve, this cardboard sleeve, just to bundle it, because it was a bundle, it made sense with this small box because it came with an insert. So we are not yet in the era of like the booklets. So we lost at this point. We already lost the booklet, so we're going backwards. Remember? So we have the sleeve. These sleeves, I have to say, I always had a love-hate relationship with them. Oh, this one is kind of old to the point that it's just unglued. Oh, also this is the thinnest glue strip that I ever saw in one of these. That's why this thing opens so easily. But the reason why I always have like mixed feelings is because sometimes the art here is great, like this one, like the Magic the Gathering logo or Planeswalker logo, but in a very Kaldheim style, which is basically like Nordic Viking, right? And I love it. And some people actually would, put these in their walls like posters, and I actually like it. The problem is that obviously they have those marks. You can't run away from that. So it is what it is. So that's bonus number one. Then the insert. We move away from booklets to inserts. So this is the Kaldheim plain name, but like in a sort of like a metal band style, I guess. I don't know if there is a name for this type of typography, but metal band, right? And now for a second I was like, oh, it's like a palindrome? Is that? No, is that? So. And then on the other side, we have a little bit of anime insert here, or at least cartoon insert. So Kaldheim consists of 10 realms linked together on a cosmic war tree. So it's basically Nordic mythology, right? When two realms collide, a great battle begins. Ragnarok. Let's meet some of the brave warriors. So you have Maja, the clan leader of the Beskir. You have Gunhild, the Golden Spear, and Gorm, the Inconspicuous. It's like, respected by all, the Breta Guard, solves disputes via the code of the clans, has the meanest shield bash in all the realm. And this one is just a regular guy. Never heard of changelings in his life. Big fan of human stuff like doors. So this is kind of, some people don't like this treatment of like the magic lore. It's kind of like laid back and kind of memeable. And originally a non-violent observer believes mortal existence is worth defending, and now an extremely violent participant. So it's kind of jokey. I don't dislike it. I think it's kind of cool. But I think it's kind of a clash here between heavy metal and anime-ish like, or at least cartoonish. So between the insert and the wrap, I guess, it's kind of cool. So remember these boxes? These boxes, well, they had nothing inside, but they were very useful for like storing cards or dice or whatever. And it's amazing how so much like a simple piece of cardboard made so much joy, right? And here's the bundle. So also we're at this era where this is not standardized yet. To be honest, I don't think this will ever be standardized. Even in recent sets we have some problems, but no name of the set. So normally nowadays we have the name of the set here most of the time. So no name of the set. You have this blue-pink pattern. Then you have the Magic the Gathering logo in Kaldheim style, Nordic style, but it's not the same as the cover wrap, etc. So it's I would say less elaborate, but I guess it's a different type of elaborate. And then nothing here and nothing here except Magic the Gathering. Nowadays, you will have like the Magic the Gathering sometimes on top, and the Magic logo will always be on the sides. And here you have like some key art, whatever. I don't dislike this. I think this is kind of clean. But this makes it very difficult for you to remember which set it is. If you store them like this, like I do, I guess you remember that this is Kaldheim, but not very useful. Some people store them like in vertical, like this, so that they can see this, and still not very useful. So it's kind of a difficult one to read, but I digress. So regarding contents, the usual contents of a bundle by this point. So you have the 2 reference cards, which, by the way, this time, I don't know why, maybe just too excited, I forgot to go over what was promised outside the box. So you have 10 draft boosters, an alternative art premium foil, Reflections of Lidyara card, the box, a special oversized spin down life counter, 2 reference cards, which is crazy, and 20 premium foil and 20 regular basic lands. So nothing too crazy, made in Belgium. For once, it feels appropriate. So let's see. We want to open this because part of the joke on this video is that you relieve the past a little bit and see the lands and all that. The 10 draft boosters, which we're going to crack. And remember, this is when we had different art for different boosters, like 4 different art pieces for the boosters. It's crazy. We no longer have that, which feels like it's really a shame. And the cup, remember the cup? Also went with time. I love this freaking thing, and it was never in the normal box, right? So we have all the basics and the die. A lot of people buy these mostly for the box and the die. And for a lot of them, the die is kind of all there is to it, right? So the piece to cover her face, otherwise the autofocus goes crazy. So for a lot of people, the die is la pièce de la résistance, is the reason why they actually buy these and they collect the die. Some people just buy the die afterwards, like they don't buy the whole thing. So things right off the box. This is weirdly lighter than some of the later dice that will be released. So it feels strangely light for some reason, almost fake light. I don't know if it makes sense. And then the design is kind of cool, but it's kind of bad at the same time. I don't know if it's on purpose. Like, so you have the 20 obviously is the Kaldheim symbol, like the axe, and then you have the numbers. It's fairly easy to read, right? It's kind of cool, and it's golden and all that. But those marks in multiple places make me doubt. I mean, they feel like they are like that on purpose, but they are so inconsistent in their size and shape. Like, for example, almost nothing here. Well, actually nothing here. And then this one is this size. I don't know if I can. It's like this one is this size. Nothing here. Bigger here. Bigger here. Like the entire line actually is blue. This entire thing is blue. So what this really feels like is that this is not intentional. What feels like is that it was golden, and all these years of this bundle box moving around with shipping and all that has, well, eaten up this die a little bit, which also feels like that. But there are no like trauma marks in the box. So I guess if that's the case, I need to go check some other people online. But if that's the case, then yeah, it's just out of hitting the walls, it just lost some color, which is weird. If it's on purpose, I guess it's cool, but it's because it's like, oh, it's, you know, it's like it's like losing its gold because it's Kaldheim is going through chaos or something. But it feels more like a kind of thing, you know what I mean? So let's go to the bundle of lands. All this magic stuff. a lot of memory. I don't know if you're like me. We always have this conversation in this channel regarding like how we should appreciate the land artists more and the land designs. But if you're like me, a lot of times what you remember the most about playing in certain eras, be it in events like a Standard and Friday Night Magic, or just like from getting cards from that time, is the lands, because those are the ones you see repeated the most. So Reflections of Lidyara, the promo card that we get is a 4 for 4 and 1 blue, is an enchantment, and it says it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. It's not bad. Maybe too expensive for the current era of Magic, but yeah. So it's cover her face just because of the autofocus. So let's see. So the planes, we have first the foil lands, and then so if again, this is kind of like this set kind of has the same advantages or disadvantages of sets like Amonkhet or Kamigawa. It's like if you like that mythology or that setting, this is likely one of your favorite sets ever. For example, I like Greek mythology, so Theros is hot stuff for me, right? I played Age of Mythology like a crazy person all my life, so obviously Amonkhet and Kaldheim will be right up the same alley because Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, but they don't hit the same as Theros for me. But also, maybe it depends on when you join the party, right? But I don't dislike them. For a lot of people, I remember like back then, a lot of people will shit on these sets, calling them lazy sets, because it's basically like, oh, well, now it's Magic, but with Norse mythology. Now it's Magic, but with Egyptian mythology. And I remember that I kind of agree with that. Let's open the boosters, by the way. Everything that I showed so far was always guaranteed for everyone that bought this product, except maybe the condition of this die. But now the boosters, as you can imagine, the results are completely random, so mileage might vary. I remember, I guess, I'm guessing where that people is right now. The ones that said that sets is like Theros and Kaldheim and Amonkhet were just like Magic, but with some mythology mixed in. Because now we have the hat sets. We have the cowboy set, the Mad Max set, the detective set. So which one is better? I wonder. Some people say that it's like, well, at least this one is like a Magic's spin on an existing mythology, but I will say that's the same for Mad Max and for Mad Max is Either Drift, by the way, or for Thunder Junction, or for Murders at Call of Manor, right? So it's kind of the same. It's like Magic in a specific setting or theme. Snowlands. I remember Snowlands came back here, and I wish they did more with Snowlands. It feels a lot like they did this kind of like in a compromise matter. It's like, well, I guess we need to do Snowlands, but they didn't do much with them. Some of the sagas were cool. I feel like it was kind of mandatory for them to do like cool sagas here because, well, but at the same time, and maybe this is the me thing, right? But Faceless Heaven, which is not bad. Again, Snowland, I was saying like, oh, I didn't do much with lands. There you have it. And another Snowland. So they had the type of Snowland, but it always feels like a thing that they did. I don't know how this is the era where we still had like ads for the very game you're buying, but at least it's for the story of the game, so not bad. An Angel Warrior. I remember that a lot of these back and forths that we had with, like, I would like to be in that. Yes, I don't know if anyone interviewed them, like the original Snowlands. To me, the original Snowlands always felt like, oh, it's just flavor, because mechanically, literally, it's just flavor. But it feels like they should be able to do more with that, but they don't want to risk it because, the lands are sacred. Lands are the engine of the game, and the mana, the color with it is what it is, right? So, but it always felt like, yeah, let's do snow because this is a cold set, right? And now we complain about thematic sets, but back then it was like, well, these are Arabian Nights, people, and now it's cold, I guess, and they did it. So Hey, nice! Halvar, God of Battle. Okay, you will say maybe God of War. The 2 and 1 white for a 4/4 legendary creature God. And creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. And this is one of those. I remember that with Kaldheim, we had the pick your side cards, which I don't hate. They were kind of, for the lands, it's kind of cool. For other stuff, it's like, I remember I got confused for a while when I saw these cards because it's like, what's the downside? It's like, oh no, you pick which side you want to play. But once you play it, you can't transform it. It's like, it is what it is. So I guess it's more flexibility, but you better remember what your card did, because like I said that by default you want this one. Technically the front face of the card is this one, right? So you need, technically it should be like this most of the time, but you need to play with sleeves. So it's like, if you for some reason wanted to use the equipment side, you need to remember, because if in the middle of the game you just go like, you just remove it from the sleeve and do this, it will be very obvious what you're doing and what card you have. So you really had to remember what the other sides did. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance. Whenever a equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. And equip is 1 and 1 white. So I like these ones. They are very flexible. You can just go one way or the other. For lands, it's crazy flexible. And well, in case you don't want to do that, or you're playing in an event with where the sleeves are kind of a delicate thing, just use this, I guess, and add all sorts of notes so they don't forget. I always felt like the need for creating, and the same happens with Innistrad, the need for creating those placeholder cards where you just write stuff because you can't use the double-sided cards normally. It always felt kind of like a cop-out. It's like, listen, guys, because technically, I guess that technically they are not allowed to say that you need sleeves to play, and technically you don't. Like, we can open these cards right now as they are, and we could just play with them. But obviously, a lot of people, me included, maybe you included, will have a sort of heart attack if you see me just sleeving these without sleeves and just breaking, like hitting each other on the borders and all that. So, Pyre of Heroes, not bad. So that's why we use sleeves. And for tournaments, they are kind of mandatory as well. So, but it's a fun case where some of the card designs kind of need you to use sleeves, and they need you to use good sleeves. This is the worst type of card, a double add. I never knew why they did this shit, but yeah. And they kind of knew that. That's why they did this, right? It's like, yeah, you need to do that. I never liked it. And to be honest, playing with the sleeves for Kaldheim, I never play that much. We're playing with Innistrad, like the werewolves and all those cards that transform. With sleeves, man, it's kind of a pain in the ass. The good thing is that, well, I mean, it's no longer in the standard, so it doesn't happen anymore. When it was in the standard, it was very painful. And when your deck, in the pre-release and stuff like that, when your deck was like mostly like night and day cards, when they released like Midnight Hunt, man, what an annoying exercise. Both of memory, of like, oh, it's day, and and of like turning the cards and all that. So I like the idea, but it's kind of annoying. These ones, at least you kind of commit to something, and that's it. It just gives you flexibility. But you do need to remember what the other side is supposed to do. Otherwise, you will just tell on yourself, which is not very cool. Oh, Furious Retribution, not bad. Alpine Meadow, Treasure, and an ad. But yeah, so it always felt like cheap. That is like, oh, you need sleeves, bro. Otherwise, for Kaldheim is more or less easy. I think that nowadays with commander decks and all that, it's very weird unless your deck is themed around that and you're a masochist. But it's kind of difficult for you to have like more than one, maybe two cards that you need to turn around. Although one time in LGS, I played against a dude that had, like, the deck was like the night day theme, like a commander deck, and it's like, why would you do that? And at least he was the only one having to work with that. Like, we maybe, yes, we needed to remember the triggers sometimes so that he would like turn the cards around. But if he didn't remember himself, but yeah, like it's not at all the same as, like, at least that he was the only one needing to like tap all the cards. Oh, nice. Kaya the Inexorable. For 3, 1 white, 1 black. Is a legendary planeswalker for 5 loyalty. So +1 is put a ghost form counter on up to 1 target non-token creature. It gains when this creature dies or is put into exile, returning to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. -3, exile target non-land permanent. And -7, you get an emblem. With at the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a legendary spell from your hand, from your graveyard, or from among cards on your from among cards you own in exile without paying its mana cost. This is kind of crazy. I mean, for a legendary tribal, it's kind of cool. Sadly, I remember looking into this card. The color identity doesn't match like the that precon from Dominaria. That is basically like a legend tribal. That has like that red witch. I remember the name of the card. Damn. But basically, that one is like basically like a legendary tribal. So the problem is that thing is Mardu, if I recall correctly. And well, wait a second. It's Mardu. This thing should work. I don't need all the okay. I don't remember even if this card is there. This card feels like it should perfectly fit in that deck. I don't think it's in that deck, but it should be. Now I have doubts. Well, more at 9, I guess. I will check it right after this video because now I'm curious. Funny that this is an imp. Nowadays, this will be like a capybara or some weird memeable thing. All right, the vehicles were also a thing here. A lot of memories come back when you start looking into this and go like, oh, that's right, I remember playing with this card. And this is where like commons and uncommons kind of shine a little bit. Everyone remembers the heavy hitters and the mythic and the chase cards and all that. But if you played like the pre-release or if you played like just Friday Night, the standard and stuff like that, you just remember well, nowadays the equivalent will be like playing in arena, I guess. Arena. I don't know. Waking the trolls. Walking the trolls. Guys, time for a walk. So, an elf warrior. And an ad. So it's totally lost. So a lot of times those commons and uncommons are the ones that you have memories. Obviously, I remember when I came back into the fray and Shadows over Innistrad was the thing. I remember that I pulled the Saurian Planeswalker, and I was like, yay! And to me, that was like my Charizard to a degree, right? It's like, yeah, I love this. And I tried to put it in like every deck that I built, even if it didn't make a lot of sense. But if you ask me like other cards from that says like, well, Anguish, Unmake, and all that, like a lot of those more common cards than freaking Saurian were the ones that shaped the game, right? I don't say that you look at Giant Ox and go like, oh man, remember? But yeah, a lot of these. And even more if you like open packs during that time, you get to see a lot of the commons and uncommons, right? So you get even good memories out of that. Search for Glory. Snow-covered swamp. I always see this like, what do you get with that? It's just snow is an attribute. And it's funny that if I recall correctly, we never did that. Fertile. We never did that for any other type of land, I think. Like, I don't think there is like a lava plains and stuff like that. Or like, I guess that because other things will be stepping on other domains, like mountains, even though they are not associated with fire. Well, lava and all that is associated with mountains, so there is that. And rain is associated with swamps and I guess with islands because it has a water symbol. But otherwise, you could have like wet plains, wet mountains and stuff like that. But we never quite invested into that. I guess snow is kind of more universal. They could do like dust cover or something like that. I don't know. I feel like they can do more things, but it's kind of pointless, really. It's just like a visual thing. And nowadays they just do like visual versions of the lands with whatever they want, and it doesn't matter. I remember Loki. No, not Loki. Well, the equivalent of Loki, T-Vault. T-Vault is from this set. I remember, these are the lands. See, these are the cool ones. These are like dual lands, but yes. So let me, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you. Yeah, and foils were a lot rarer in these boosters. So double add, yay. These lands are very good, like even in Commander and everything, because, well, they don't give you like, some people will argue this, I guess, but they don't give you like flexibility of giving you one black or one green. You know, like, enter stab, but you can pick like which one. No, it's like you have it in your hand and you decide which side you want. And if you want a Darkshore pathway, it gives you black, and if you want a Slitherbore pathway, it gives you green. So it really comes down to what do you need at that time, and then you commit to it. And, you know, it's kind of a simple design, kind of elegant, but to me, it just works. Like, you know, it's like you commit to something, and it gives you flexibility. A lot of times what you need you need like some early game flexibility, or just at some point flexibility. So it's like, well, right now I don't need like either green or black. I just need green. I just need black. How many Commander games have I played where I've been choked on one color specifically, like in 3-color decks and stuff like that? So this type of mana really fixes it without feeling too broken. But it is kind of broken. That's why I feel like they haven't reprinted it again, I guess. I think there is a secret layer with this, but I don't think they have included it in anything else. Maybe yes, and I just don't know, but it makes sense that they reprint it, but I don't remember it. At the same time, it feels like one of those ideas that is like, this is kind of broken. For a standard, at least. For a standard, it's kind of broken. For Commander and stuff like that, it's very flexible. I don't think it's broken necessarily, but I think it's kind of too powerful. And that's the thing with Magic. That's the beautiful thing about Magic. The thing that no one cares about, which is lands, because, you know, lands are in every... Well, nowadays they are, but lands are in every pack. You buy a bundle, you get 40 lands, etc., etc. You can play the game without lands, and some of the most powerful cards ever are that are like banned and are very expensive are dual lands, which is basically just lands that allow you to pick between 2 colors with no downside, and that's powerful as hell. And I think the design team realized that pretty early in the game, and that's why we never saw them again. And nowadays they need to come with all these creative ways of having like a downside to a dual land, because otherwise it's too freaking powerful. So it is what it is. This is the last booster, by the way. Time flies when you have fun. And we finish with an Elvish War Master. Not necessarily what I would thought for Kaldheim as my last card, but there are elves in Norse mythology, but not everyone depicts the elves the same way. I remember when I played, because we associated with this aesthetic, which is like the, you know, medieval European Lord of the Rings aesthetic. But for example, if you play God of War 2018, it's like, these are elves, and it's like they look like bugs, and it's like, sorry, what? And it's like, well, that's also a depiction for elves. So that's the bundle. So besides the memories from Kaldheim and all the interesting quirky things that they introduced or brought back, like the snow-covered lands, is it worth it to buy this bundle? Well, at this day and age, if you really like Kaldheim, then yes, always yes, because it's just a box of memories. As usual, with this type of thing, I always say the same. Bundles are very cool because they're like a time capsule of a specific set. And also you get like the box and the die and whatnot. In terms of ranking for this era, this is kind of in the middle for me. There are some heavy wins and some heavy that don't, you know, because of the era that we are in, right? It's like it comes with 10 draft boosters, which it works, I guess. I prefer the set booster era, but draft boosters are okay. it feels weird because a bundle is something that you open on your own. And when they started doing this with draft boosters, it feels like they were trying to be like, you buy a bundle and open it with friends. It's like, well, with 10 draft boosters, there's not that much that we can do, right? Unless everyone buys one bundle, which I guess maybe was the idea. But yeah, so we still had the box, which is great, and we still had the other box, which is great. Like, look how many things they have been taking away from us for even more money. So when it comes to the insert is kind of cool. It's like weird on this side, but I take it. And this side is simple, but great, which I love it. You can actually just frame this if you want, and it will work. It's kind of cool. I love it. Now for the outer shell, we are at this era where we had outer shells and they have designs, and this is kind of a clean design. And because of all the lines and patterns, you kind of can see the lines here, right? See, even in a close-up. So it's kind of disguised. You can actually see it more here because the paint kind of went away, but it's kind of cool. You could put this in your wall, I guess. Now, the two things that everyone cares about. So the promo is kind of cool, by the way. I like the promo. The Reflections of Littjara. It's like an interesting card. You can put in you can do like some crazy things with this in a good deck, but it's kind of expensive. So it's not super duper good, but it's good in my opinion. Now, the two things that everyone thinks about, which is the box. The box is, I mean, I like it. It's emblematic. Like, it's very clean. I like clean boxes like this. It's kind of cool. But at the same time, there is no easy way to identify these from the normal ways, which is from above or from the back, because it doesn't say anything. So you need to remember that those colors equal Kaldheim, I guess. But this is kind of normal from this era. They will move eventually, into the Magic the Gathering era and the logo era, and then the set name logo here, and they go through all the styles. So I don't dislike this one, but it's kind of not good for storage. Even more if you buy it at this point in an age, it's like confusing. But don't put anything on it, just take it. And the die is weird because when I saw it, I was kind of baffled by it, and I was like, man, this is cool. It's like a piece of gold, mystic dwarven artifact type of thing, and it is. But the problem that the fact that the thing is peeling itself with no use whatsoever is kind of depressing. And kind of bad. I can make the argument to myself that it's like, oh, but it's like it's worn down because Norse mythology, and it's like, yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't look like super cool, right? So I don't know, mixed feelings there. And it's a shame because if it was like purely gold, it would be like one off, if not the best die that I own, because I just look like the aesthetic that much. But with all these blue spots, I don't know, and I'm even more scared of. Also, it's kind of too light for some reason, but I'm scared that if I just throw it a couple of times, it will just become blue. At which point, maybe it will be a very cool die also, but in this transition state, it just looks weird. And that's it. That's the bundle. That's the blast from the past. So let me know down below what you think about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all those cool things that the cool kids do. And please share your memories of Kaldheim. What you like about this set, and what you think about those days where people were like, oh, Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology. It's just magic with hats, and now we have magic with hats. So do you think is a valid comparison, or I don't know? I like this era a lot. I like when they do like magic's twist on a mythology. Mythologies feel more pure to twist than tropes or archetypes, I guess. So very excited. Although T-Bolt is basically lucky, and that kind of smells. Also, this is when they did like the T-Bolt that it was. What was it here? It's like the cheapest planeswalker, and it's just because they could, and the card is shared and all that. So I don't know. I think it was introduced before. I think it wasn't introduced here. I think here is when they start talking about the tree and all that. That this leads to Phyrexia, but I may be wrong. And also Vorinclex is somewhere here, if I recall correctly. But yeah, so. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you had a great time, and I will see you next time on PAX and Recreation. Bye.